Coming up, a mystery novel inspired by Hollywood's master of suspense.
Nonfiction about the librarian spies of World War II.
Plus, our distraction of the week. I'm Mel.
I'm Dave. This is the Library of Lost Time.
The book I'm talking about today is at the top of my TBR. I have 2 more books to read for our Strong Sense of Place season, and then I'm all in on spooky. 1 second after I turn the final page of my last book set in Seattle, I'm opening the cover of The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Roble. Here's the setup. The main character is Alfred Smedel.
Alfred Smedel?
I mean, right off the bat.
Yeah.
What a name.
Yeah.
Alfred Smedel is the #1 fan of filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock. He loves Hitchcock's films so much, he's turned a Victorian mansion into a hotel devoted to the director.
That seems to be inviting trouble.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
The rooms are decorated with movie memorabilia. There are film screenings 24/7. And in case that's not immersive enough, there's an aviary stocked with a murder of 50 crows. He is living his best creepy life.
Yes.
To celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the hotel, which is in the New England mountains, he invites his former film club members for a getaway. They haven't spoken to each other for 16 years.
No.
But each of them accepts his invitation for reasons. And then somebody ends up dead.
Well, yeah.
Yay!
Should have seen that coming.
There are 5 things that are making me excited about reading this book.
Okay.
1, a Victorian mansion in the White Mountains of New Hampshire? Yes, please.
Yeah.
2, in an interview, the author Stephanie Roble said she based her 7 main characters on the 7 deadly sins. There's a hedge fund manager, an heir to a luxury clothing company, an entrepreneur, a disgraced restaurateur, and a security specialist. It all sounds very shady and therefore 100% awesome.
Yeah.
3, the narrative point of view shifts among the characters, which is one of my favorite author tricks in a thriller. 4, in that same interview, the author said when the former best friends gather, Hitchcockian chaos ensues. I think we all know how I feel about that phrase. And 5, the first paragraph sets the scene like a screenplay. And all I wanted to do was pretend responsibilities don't exist and keep reading. Here's how the book starts. Let us begin with an establishing shot. A 3-story Victorian house stands alone on a hill in the White Mountains. The house boasts a wraparound porch, mansard roof, and bay windows. Despite the building's age, her shingles gleam, shutters sparkle. In other words, she is beloved. We swoop in through an open window on the 3rd floor to reveal a handsome hotel room. A woman with a face of cracked earth leans against a 4-poster bed, watching a man in his 30s survey himself in a pedestal floor mirror. I twist away from the mirror to face my housekeeper. How do I look? Danny takes her time considering me. Like Norman Bates.
Well, that's promising, isn't it?
I thought so. That is The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Roble. I will start reading it on October 14th if anyone wants to join me.
A new book came out last week that immediately got my attention. It's called Book and Dagger: How Scholars and Librarians Became the Unlikely Spies of World War II.
I mean, I'm in already. I don't need to know anything else.
Right? It's by Elise Graham. She's a professor of English at Stony Brook University. The story starts at the beginning of World War II. The United States government is suddenly in need of a spy network. They realize that they are hundreds of years behind England, France, Germany, Japan, all of whom have been practicing spycraft since at least the Middle Ages.
Sure.
They had spies, the U.S. had spies for World War I, but they let them go. Whoops.
Very optimistic.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
There's a famous quote from that era, which is, "Gentlemen don't read each other's mail."
But spies do.
Yeah. So President Roosevelt appointed a man named Donovan to start up what would become the Office of Strategic Services. Donovan looks at what's to be done, and he thinks, I'm going to need a lot of smart people. I'm going to need people who can gather and organize a mountain of data. I'm going to need people who can look at that pile and come up with the useful detail. I'm going to need librarians.
Nice.
Yeah. And this book is about the scholars and librarians and academics who became spies during World War II. The very first page, the introduction, has a story about the recruitment of a professor at Yale in August of 1942. His name is Joseph Curtis, and we'll end up following his story through the book. But at the beginning, he's at home one night in his faculty apartment surrounded by books, and there's a knock on the door. And it's the head of his department, which is unusual. Maybe he's in trouble, he doesn't know. So the head of the department comes in and he shuts the windows and he pulls the curtains and he looks around and he tells Curtis, "I need you to visit the Yale Club in New York City tomorrow. Wear a blue suit and a purple tie. You'll see a man in the lounge who will light and then quickly put out a cigarette. That man wants to talk to you."
Why doesn't anything like this ever happen to me?
Right? So Curtis does what he's asked. He goes to New York, purple tie, meets the contact. The contact is from the OSS. He needs a Yale professor to say they're going abroad to acquire books for the library, but actually to gather intelligence. Would he do it? So I'm reading that, and I'm already like,
Yeah.
you know.
Tell me more.
Yeah, the story is tasty. It's got spies. It's got librarians. It's set in the 40s. All of that is catnip for me. The writing is lively. I love that she's starting with an anecdote in this one in particular. And then there's this next sentence, the sentence that totally sells me. Graham writes, "The story that follows is not going to sound like it really happened, but it did." If you're like me and find the idea of World War II librarians, spies, and their stories difficult to resist, you might enjoy this. It just came out last week. The reviews have been great. It's Book and Dagger, How Scholars and Librarians Became the Unlikely Spies of World War II by Elise Graham.
It's for the brave and not the meek. It's our distraction of the week.
I've been listening to a podcast that's keeping me very entertained and improving my Jeopardy skills.
Is it our podcast?
No, this one is the History Extra podcast from the BBC.
Welcome to the History Extra podcast. Fascinating historical...
It's a companion to the glossy History Extra magazine, which I've picked up in the UK several times and loved. But I think I might like the podcast even more. Okay, check this out. The podcast is updated 6 times a week.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's the beauty of having staff in the BBC at your beck and call, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
There are currently more than 2,000 episodes available. So if you enjoy it, you can enjoy it a lot. They have really great standalone episodes, and then they have a few different series so that you can go deep on a particular topic. The conversations between the hosts and the guests are lively and don't feel scripted, but they're focused. These are not two people idly chatting. They have points they want to make, and they do it with just a ton of charm. On Sundays, they release an episode called Everything You Wanted to Know About, fill in the blank.
Right.
And that answers common questions about historical stuff. They go to social media and they ask people what they've always wondered, and they collect the most popular Google searches, and then they answer those questions about topics like medieval torture, prehistoric stone circles, the 18th century Grand Tour, stuff like that.
That's cool.
One of my favorites recently was all about tartan plaid. I did not expect it to be such an entertaining story. On Tuesdays, they drop an episode of Life of the Week. That series, as you might guess from the name, delves into the biographies of fascinating people. Anne Frank, George Orwell, Joan of Arc, Catherine de' Medici, Plato. The conversation is usually with a historian or author. They often have just had a book come out about the subject. And they go beyond the basic bio info to make these people seem like real people as opposed to some musty historical thing.
Yes.
And the producers do a fantastic job of finding authors who are also great at talking.
That's a good trick. Those people can be hard to find.
It's true. But I'm telling you about this podcast now because it's spooky season. And if you want to celebrate the best season of the year, but don't like to be scared, History Extra has you covered. They have lots of Halloween stories told through a historical lens.
So you can celebrate the creepy without any of the jump scares.
Exactly.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a gore-free zone.
Yeah.
I just finished listening to a 9-part series on the Salem witch trials, which took place in Massachusetts in 1692. I really like the way they structured it. The first episode was an overview of what the devil was going on and happening in Salem Village. And then each of the subsequent episodes looked at one aspect of the experience, like how the event spiraled out of control and the role that Puritanism and a belief in the supernatural played in setting off the villagers' fears, how the trials went down. And then at the end, the final episode was a wrap-up of all of the theories taken together.
Oh, that's cool. So they kind of set out the weave and then put everything together at the end.
Yeah. It was really useful for understanding it wasn't one thing. It was this web of things that created those extraordinary circumstances. For more witchy fun, they also have standalone episodes about England and Scotland's last witches, witch hunters, and an episode of Everything You Wanted to Know devoted to witchcraft. If vampires are your thing, they have a special episode about Bram Stoker's Dracula. That discussion covers how Victorian audiences reacted to the story at the time and how it reflects our anxieties now. There's also an Everything You Wanted to Know about Halloween monsters that answers essential questions like, why do ghosts wear white sheets? And on the lighter side, you could listen to the one about Arthur Conan Doyle, spiritualism, and fairies. Most of the episodes are hosted by 2 young women, Eleni Briffett and Ellie Cawthorne. They have really lovely, warm radio voices and ask just the right questions. The enthusiasm that they and their guests bring to the show is infectious. I've gotten excited about topics I had no idea I cared about. And it's like eavesdropping on 2 smart people talking rather than listening to an academic lecture, even though the guests bring that level of expertise to their topics. I love it so much. Maybe you will too. It's the History Extra podcast. It's free and you can listen to it everywhere. Visit strongsenseofplace.com/library for more on the books we talked about today and links to the Halloween episodes of the History Extra podcast.
Thanks for joining us in the Library of Lost Time. Remember to visit your local library and your independent bookstore to lose some time yourself.
Stay curious. We'll talk to you soon.
Welcome to Gotham, Jimmy. It's not as bad as it looks.
DC and Realm present
Our vigilante, or Batman as he's called, possesses extraordinary physical skill.
DC High Volume Batman. Fear. I have to make them afraid. I shall become a bat.
Look there. What the hell?
The Dark Knight's definitive DC Comics stories.
He's got a motorcycle. Get after him or I'll have you shot.
Take him down.
Adapted directly for audio for the very first time.
Thinks he's a damn Robin Hood.
He dies.
Looks like it's just you and me now, Phil Cooney.
Hit the floodlight. It's showtime. New episodes every Wednesday. Follow and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Batman hasn't attacked anybody. What do you mean, blow up the building?
From this moment on, none of you are safe. DC High Volume Batman. Available now.